Have you ever felt like your mind is working on a different frequency than those around you? Like your thoughts, ideas, and depth of understanding create a barrier between you and others, leaving you isolated. If you're someone who thinks deeply or questions the status quo, you've probably encountered this discomfort. Today, we're going to explore why deep thinkers and highly intelligent individuals often feel rejected or misunderstood by society, and why, historically, society has found their brilliance unsettling. Throughout history, the most profound thinkers have been marginalized or outright rejected by society. Think about figures like Socrates, Galileo, or Nikola Tesla. These individuals weren't shunned because they lacked intelligence, but because their ideas challenged the very foundation of what society accepted as truth. To some, these thinkers were seen as threats, disrupting the comfort of familiar beliefs. Socrates was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth of Athens, not because he was dumb, but because he forced people to question everything they believed. Galileo was condemned by the church for his heliocentric theory, not due to a lack of intellect, but because his findings conflicted with centuries-old dogma. Even Nikola Tesla, the man who revolutionized electrical engineering, was seen as eccentric, rejected by those in power, and struggled to gain the recognition he deserved during his lifetime. So why does society react this way? It's not always about intelligence, it's about discomfort. Deep thinkers challenge the status quo, and that discomfort often leads to their rejection. Psychologically, deep thinkers often act as mirrors to those around them, reflecting the limitations and insecurities of others. This is what we can call the mirror effect. When people are confronted with ideas or perspectives that challenge their worldview, they may feel intellectually inferior or insecure. This triggers a defense mechanism. Just as we might defend ourselves from physical threats, our brains react with fear when faced with intellectual discomfort. The brain's amygdala, the area responsible for emotional responses, triggers a fear reaction when we feel inferior, and when confronted with ideas that question our assumptions, that fear response can feel as intense as a physical threat. It's a natural survival mechanism that has deep evolutionary roots. Humans are social animals. Our brains are wired for connection and belonging. From an evolutionary standpoint, social acceptance was crucial for survival. Those who didn't fit in, who were perceived as different or threatening, were often excluded. This deep need for social harmony means that intelligence, which can disrupt the peace, becomes something to fear. In modern times, this fear of intellectual challenges is amplified by social media. Social networks reward quick reactions, viral content, and easy-to-digest ideas, making the profound, the deep, and the complex harder to appreciate. It's no wonder that deep thinkers often feel isolated in today's world. In our culture, confidence is often valued more than intelligence. Charisma, the ability to entertain, and popularity are often rewarded over the depth of thought or intellectual contributions. This creates a social dynamic where people who engage in superficial conversations or who play the status game gain more influence, while deep thinkers are left to the fringes. In group settings, a person who thinks deeply is often seen as a threat to social status. After all, if one person's intellectual depth exposes the shallowness of others, it creates a discomfort that's hard to ignore. And so, deep thinkers often face exclusion or rejection in these social dynamics. There are also cognitive biases at play. The Dunning-Kruger effect suggests that people with less knowledge tend to overestimate their understanding. Meanwhile, the status quo bias reinforces people's resistance to new ideas, preferring the comfort of what they already know. The backfire effect shows that when confronted with evidence that challenges their beliefs, people often become even more entrenched in their views. All these biases make it hard for deep thinkers to break through the barriers of conventional thinking. Institutions like schools and workplaces often reward conformity over independent thought. Schools, for example, are structured to encourage obedience and adherence to established norms rather than fostering creativity and deep inquiry. In the corporate world, independent thinkers who challenge the status quo can be seen as disruptive. And in politics and media, it's often those who tell people what they want to hear that gain the most power. The deeper, more challenging questions are rarely asked in these spaces, leaving deep thinkers feeling alienated from mainstream institutions. Arthur Schopenhauer, a philosopher often seen as the epitome of existential disillusionment, argued that intelligence is, in many ways, a curse. He claimed that most people are driven by the will to live, seeking comfort, pleasure, and status. Deep thinkers, on the other hand, are driven by the will to truth. This pursuit of truth often leads to disconnection, as it forces individuals to confront uncomfortable realities. For Schopenhauer, this pursuit of truth was a lonely path. Deep thinkers struggle with small talk, with status games, and with the trivial pleasures that others seem to find satisfying. As they navigate the world, they often feel a sense of alienation, unable to connect with others who are preoccupied with less meaningful concerns. Being a deep thinker is not easy. The world isn't always kind to those who challenge the status quo, who seek truth, and who question the comfortable narratives of society. But perhaps that's the price we pay for depth. To think deeply is to face discomfort, rejection, and isolation. But it's also to see the world in a way that others cannot. It's to have the courage to ask questions that others are too afraid to confront. And in the end, isn't that what makes life truly meaningful? We've all been there. The moment when your thoughts take you to a place so deep, so far from the conversation around you, that you can't help but feel disconnected. The sensation that your mind is working on a different frequency than everyone else's. For deep thinkers, this feeling is all too familiar. The isolation, the frustration, the quiet struggle to connect with a world that doesn't seem to understand you. But why does it happen? Why do deep thinkers, those who explore the complexities of existence, the nature of consciousness, and the meaning of life, often find themselves marginalized or rejected by society? Today, we'll examine this curious phenomenon. We'll explore the historical, psychological, and cultural forces that make being a deep thinker in today's world so difficult. This isn't just a theoretical discussion. This is about you, the thinker, the one who questions and seeks truth. It's about understanding the forces that push you to the margins of social life, and why, even though you're seeking to uncover something more profound, you often feel alone in that pursuit. Throughout history, the greatest minds were not always celebrated in their time. In fact, many of them were feared, rejected, or even punished for the very thing that made them remarkable: their intelligence. Their ideas, too radical for their age, struck a deep, uncomfortable chord in society. And what about Galileo? When he dared to propose that the Earth revolved around the sun, he didn't just contradict ancient beliefs. He challenged the very foundation of religious authority, and for that, he was condemned as a heretic. He was a brilliant mind, caught in a world that wasn't ready for his truth. Then there's Nikola Tesla, who gave us the power of alternating current. Today, we recognize his genius. But during his lifetime, Tesla was often dismissed, ignored, and even mocked. He didn't fit the mold. He wasn't charming like Edison, and he wasn't commercially successful. And for that, he was rejected by many of his contemporaries, though now his contributions are the bedrock of modern technology. These thinkers were not excluded because they were wrong. They were excluded because their ideas disrupted the status quo, and in turn, threatened the societal power structures that depended on people staying within the bounds of what was comfortable and familiar. So, why do deep thinkers often feel isolated or rejected? Part of the answer lies in psychology. Think about the human mind as a mirror. When you, as a deep thinker, reflect on the world, your thoughts inevitably challenge the views of others. And just like a mirror, the reflection isn't always flattering. It makes people see their own limitations, their own ignorance, and that can be uncomfortable. This discomfort sparks a defense mechanism, one we're all familiar with: denial. The brain has an instinct to protect itself from feelings of inferiority. Just like we physically defend ourselves from danger, our brains react defensively when we encounter something that threatens our self-perception. Let's take this a step further. Our minds are hardwired for survival, but survival isn't just about food and shelter. It's about social acceptance. Humans, by nature, are social creatures. Our brains have evolved to prioritize fitting in over standing out. In the past, our ability to stay in harmony with the group was crucial for survival. Those who questioned the group or sought to push boundaries were often ostracized, even endangered. In our modern world, there's another layer to this isolation: social and cultural dynamics. Think about how we value certain traits in social settings. The question then is, how do you find meaning in a world that seems content with the superficial? Is it even possible to truly understand existence in a society that prioritizes convenience, entertainment, and instant gratification? Today, we're going to explore the struggle for meaning, a struggle that has been around for as long as humanity itself, and how it has evolved in the modern age. The world we live in today is inundated with information. It's a world that values convenience. With just a few taps on our smartphones, we can access endless streams of content: news, entertainment, social media. But in this overwhelming flood of information, does any of it really have depth? Does it really make us feel anything deeper than the next fleeting moment of distraction? Meaning, in its most authentic form, has always been something we had to dig for. It was something that required deep thought, patience, and introspection. Yet today, we live in a time where meaning is often reduced to quick sound bites, viral trends, and algorithms designed to keep us entertained for as long as possible. And in the pursuit of comfort, the deep questions we used to ask about life, death, love, and existence are often pushed aside. But is this really the best way to live? Are we truly thriving when we can binge-watch entire seasons of shows in one sitting, or mindlessly scroll through endless feeds of cat videos and status updates? Sure, it's comfortable, it's easy, but does it leave us with a sense of fulfillment? The drive for comfort is a deeply ingrained part of human nature. We all seek pleasure, relaxation, and the avoidance of pain. But what happens when we start to prioritize comfort over everything else? When we stop asking hard questions and, instead, fill our lives with distractions that numb us to the deeper realities of existence? Philosophers have long warned us about the dangers of living a life that is too comfortable. In fact, many of the greatest minds in history, from Socrates to Nietzsche, argued that without struggle, without discomfort, there is no growth. Comfort can lull us into a state of complacency, preventing us from confronting the uncomfortable truths that we need to face in order to grow as individuals. But it's not just about avoiding physical discomfort. Today, we have a world of mental and emotional distractions at our fingertips. Social media is a perfect example of this. A constant barrage of updates, likes, and notifications that give us a fleeting sense of validation, but never anything that sticks. In fact, studies show that people who spend more time on social media tend to feel more disconnected and lonely. Why? Because these platforms provide instant gratification, but they don't offer the depth of connection we need as human beings. At some point, the pursuit of comfort becomes a double-edged sword. It prevents us from growing, from from facing our inner struggles, and ultimately from finding the meaning that eludes us. True fulfillment doesn't come from mindlessly seeking pleasure. It comes from the pursuit of something greater, something beyond the fleeting comforts of the moment. So, what does it mean to seek depth in a world that seems content with the surface? It means slowing down. It means resisting the temptation to be swept away by the constant tide of distraction, and instead choosing to engage with life more intentionally. It means embracing discomfort, embracing uncertainty, and sitting with the questions that make us uncomfortable. In the past, philosophy was the pursuit of wisdom, an ongoing dialogue about the nature of life, the universe, and everything in between. The great philosophers didn't have all the answers, but they knew that asking the big questions was what mattered. Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." It's a powerful statement because it forces us to confront our own lives, our habits, our beliefs, our desires, and ask whether they are truly serving us or whether we're simply drifting. Today, that pursuit of wisdom still matters, but it's harder than ever to engage in. Our minds are constantly distracted, our attention divided, and our sense of purpose clouded by the noise of daily life. We have become expert multitaskers, but are we any closer to understanding who we truly are or what this life is all about? Finding depth today requires us to actively carve out time for contemplation, introspection, and exploration. It's about asking the hard questions. Questions like, what is the purpose of my life? What do I want to contribute to the world? What does it mean to live authentically? These questions don't come with easy answers, but they are essential for our growth as individuals. The search for depth doesn't have to be a solitary one. It's also about connecting with others who share this desire for something greater. It's about creating spaces, both physical and mental, where we can explore life's most profound questions together. It's about fostering communities where we encourage each other to think deeply, to challenge our assumptions, and to seek truth over comfort. Technology has radically transformed the way we live, work, and interact with the world. It has connected us in ways we could never have imagined just a few decades ago. But with all its advancements, technology has also introduced new challenges in our quest for meaning. On the one hand, technology has made life easier, more efficient, and more interconnected. But on the other hand, it has created new distractions, new forms of escape. The more we rely on technology to solve our problems or provide entertainment, the less we rely on ourselves to grapple with life's deeper questions. Think about how often we reach for our phones during moments of stillness, whether we're waiting in line, commuting, or even when we feel a little anxious. Technology, in these moments, serves as a quick escape, a way to fill the silence and avoid the discomfort of being alone with our thoughts. But this constant need for stimulation prevents us from cultivating the inner stillness required for deep reflection. Intelligence can feel like both a gift and a curse. Deep thinkers and highly intelligent individuals often feel isolated, misunderstood by a society that doesn't always value or even recognize their depth. But why is that? Why do the most insightful minds often struggle with loneliness, alienation, and rejection? It's not that these individuals lack intelligence, quite the opposite. Their ideas, thoughts, and perspectives challenge the very fabric of societal norms, causing discomfort and fear. Today, we'll explore the historical, psychological, and cultural forces that contribute to this phenomenon and look deeper into the struggles of being a thinker in a world that prioritizes comfort over depth. Now, in the age of social media, the rejection of intelligence has only grown more pronounced. Social media platforms prioritize virality, simplicity, and quick engagement. Nuanced, intellectual discussions get buried beneath memes, viral challenges, and shallow content. What's easy to consume often wins, whether it's a 15-second TikTok video or a meme that distills a complex idea into a catchy punchline. It's a world where the deep thinkers are drowned out by the noise of shallow, viral content, and this is where intelligent discourse gets lost in a sea of distractions. In this environment, deep thinkers find themselves fighting not just for understanding, but for attention. The world doesn't reward nuance, it rewards simplification. And the more complicated and nuanced your thoughts are, the less likely they are to go viral, the less likely they are to be shared and discussed. This has led to a culture of surface-level thinking, where only the most palatable ideas make it through. It's not just in social circles or online communities where deep thinkers face rejection. Institutions such as schools and workplaces often favor conformity over independent thought. Schools reward memorization and obedience over critical thinking and innovation. In fact, the very structure of our education system often stifles creativity as it trains us to fit in, not to stand out. At work, too, conformity is often the key to success. The ability to follow rules, to stay in line with the company's culture, and to align with the corporate agenda is often more important than independent thinking. The deep thinkers, who are naturally inclined to question norms, to think outside the box, may find themselves at odds with institutional structures that reward conformity. And in politics and the media, the story is much the same. Leaders who challenge the status quo or offer complex solutions to complex problems often find themselves sidelined. Instead, the public often embraces those who tell them what they want to hear, who offer simple, digestible answers to the world's most difficult problems. But despite all the challenges that come with being a deep thinker, there is a quiet power in embracing this struggle. The isolation, the rejection, the discomfort, all of it is a part of the process. It's through this struggle that deep thinkers find their true selves, and it's through their discomfort that they discover their deeper purpose. While the world may not always recognize the value of deep thinking, history has shown us that those who dare to think differently are the ones who change the world.